We are just a couple of days away from having our wood burning stove installed right over there in the corner of our upstairs living room. But before we get to that, there's just a couple of small things left that we need to do. Some little detail-y pieces, a bit of a tidy up, some mini projects, if you will, and that's exactly what we're going to show you in this video. Now, these are the kinds of things that we don't normally film because individually they're not really that interesting, but because we've got a couple of them to do and it's all related to the work that's been going on up here, which we've been sharing the whole process of, we thought we'd show it to you for a change. And when all of that is done, we finally get to take the scaffolding down so this space is nice and open and ready for the guys to come and install the wood burner in a couple of days. So let's get on with it.
So we could go like this and attach it. Or we can go like this, and that's kind of less obvious. It's more hidden,
yeah, I think that's better.
Further back. And what we'll need to do is just behind each of the rafters is just put a blob of cork. Just to prevent that tiny bit of draft that might come up in there. And if there's any gap along the top, we'll just again run a bead of cork. But it's getting good contact with this, and then it gives us more fixing points for the brad nailer as well. And then, yeah, we're going to have a little bit of that where it's not 100% contact. So yeah, a tiny bead of cork.
You get your steps in today.
Oh, goodness. Ha! Small gaps, but we can fix those.
Stuff is constantly getting in the way.
Speak more.
You want to go a bit more?
I'm asking you. It's a question. More or no?
Yeah, go a bit more.
42 and a bit. 12 and 5.
Actually, seems like going up and down a ladder is a little bit easier than dealing with the scaffolding.
Yeah, for this bit, I don't know how I'm going to get into the corner there, but yes, this is much easier. And now that I have a process, slightly faster.
Yeah, and you really can only do one at a time, so it's not like you can just
Exactly.
get up here, measure them all, cut them all, off you go. It's a bit more fiddly.
The only problem is you have to go up and down the ladder every time you need to do an additional cut.
Yeah. So I guess that is many trips up and down a ladder for you.
Oh, the fun I have on days like this.
I mean, the great thing is I can just stand up here and do all the filming without moving at all.
Are you ready?
Try it.
might just be able to hand do that. Let me try going in this direction. Now it fails.
Nice snug fit. Are you able to talk and do this at the same time?
Sometimes, not always.
Well, let's see if this is one of those times.
Definitely measuring and talking and thinking is not
No, that's not a good
recommended.
combination.
I think I can manage this.
So my question is, why are we doing this?
So we tried one with the nail gun, and because of the angle of all the things, the nails did not go in all the way, and then it was extremely difficult to get a hammer in to nail them all the rest of the way in. So we're going with the gluing approach.
So interestingly, my question was not about the method,
Oh.
but about the reasons.
Sorry, you were not clear with your question then.
So apologies for not being clear with my question. Would you like to turn around and give an answer to the question that you now realise I was asking?
Right, well, I can actually demonstrate. That's even better. If you've been following along some of the other videos, and I showed when I was doing some plastering up here, and I crawled in on the floor and showed how there's some daylight getting in, and the daylight comes in the gap where the Roman tiles do this. One goes under and one goes over, and there's tiny little gaps, and it's below where our waterproof membrane seal is. And what that means is these little guys who just came out of hiding, spiders, can get in, but also there's a possibility of a slight draft, and we're trying to get this house as airtight as possible, particularly when we're putting in new stuff like this. We could, in this instance, there is it's like a millimetre, could just run a bead of cork along there, but there was a couple here that have much bigger gaps that the gap is too big for the cork to fill. So we're going to put this trim all the way around. Now, it's not going to be 100% perfect. I think we estimated maybe we'll get 95%, because some of these rafters go in a little bit backwards, and then there's a small gap there. We can try and fill it with something, but this is to get most of it, and we might have some tiny little gaps behind the rafters. So that's why.
Cool. Now I understand.
Air gaps.
So this is a classic example of one of those things that just doesn't make it onto the project plan. When we're planning things out, we tend to only be able to look big picture. And so we're like, oh yeah, this project, that's however many days or weeks or whatever it is. But it's stuff like this that you don't really think about in the moment because you're thinking big picture. And it's this stuff that is always the most fiddly, the most kind of detail oriented, and usually the least enjoyable, which is why we don't tend to film this kind of stuff, because it makes something that is not particularly interesting and not particularly important in the big scheme of things take a lot longer. But you know, that is the reality of this kind of work, is sometimes there's big, impressive, exciting projects like the whole roof coming off, and then sometimes there's not very interesting but equally important things that need to be done that take a lot of time. And so that's why this project is taking so long. Oh, this is bloody awkward.
I wondered yesterday how my arms got so dirty, and then I realised it's from resting onto this. I was like, what is all this black coming off?
When you're touching up details with the world's smallest paintbrush, you know you are a detail-oriented person.
Perfectionist, some might accuse me of. However, I know myself, and I know if all the little bits don't get done, I will notice them. And I actually, as much as I dislike most types of decorating, I don't mind these really small little fiddly bits.
Oh, good, because I hate the fiddly bits.
It's so funny, and I really dislike most decorating. But this stuff, I don't mind. And I think it's just, you know, getting the finish that I like to see.
People may struggle to believe that I dislike most DIY and renovation, but I actually quite enjoy most decorating.
And plastering.
Yeah, I mean...
You've enjoyed learning that as a skill.
Yes.
So maybe it's the learning process there that you've enjoyed.
No, I dislike learning. I enjoy having learned things.
Okay. The goal has been achieved.
Let's see how patient I'm feeling today.
Probably not.
Yeah, I could have a good guess. That has finished it off nicely. Don't need much of a mallet, I don't think. Okay.
All right, next. Okay, I couldn't see what you were going to do first.
Yeah. One.
Yeah.
Cool.
Watch the wall, watch the wall. Yep.
This.
And then pass it to your left.
To the left.
And down.
There we
Yep.
go.
Yep.
Coming down.
Okay. And then to your right. Yep.
Ooh. This end still. You want it all by yourself?
Got it. Yep.
Got it. I've got it. Wonderful. Bit early to be drinking, right? Can you explain what this is?
Neat orange and lemon vinegar. It's, I guess, a homemade cleaning product, and I use it a lot as a degreaser, but it works really, really well for tough stains. I can see now it's doing a perfect job getting this residual grout off. And funnily enough, it was actually when we did the bathroom floor, there was a comment from some lovely person saying if you put a little bit of vinegar in the water when you're rinsing off the grout, it cleans up much easier. And I tried it and it was amazing. So now I'm doing that for these stubborn stains that are just along the edges.
And even though it's got a bit of a tint to it with the orange peel and stuff,
That'll just wash off.
It doesn't come through onto the tiles.
No. Really, the purpose of the orange and the lemon and the vinegar is for the oil. The orange and lemon oil has just excellent cleaning properties. They're really good as a window cleaner, really good as a degreaser. It's such a versatile ingredient, substance.
I mean, essentially, it's a weak acid.
Yeah, exactly.
So good for cleaning.
Yeah. I remember our previous flat when we were cleaning it, when we'd sold it, and we were cleaning the extractor hob, which had built up quite a bit of horrible grease, and it was amazing. You just sprayed it on, left it for about 10 minutes, came back and wiped it off. No scrubbing really required.
Brilliant.
I don't know how much I need, not very much. Let's go for that much.
So when we installed this hearth, we got quite a lot of comments about the overhang and the method of, or the style of hearth that we've chosen.
Yeah, I mean, this is what's called a raised hearth. And an overhang in a raised hearth is very normal where we come from, to the fact that I had to go and double check that it was normal because there were so many comments. So there must be somewhere in the world where it's not common.
Well, the other thing is a flush hearth, which is basically a single piece of stone, concrete, slab, something.
Yeah, which is flush with your flooring.
Yeah.
Which we've had in other properties before as well.
Yeah.
But we've also had this raised hearth. And actually your parents who have a property here in Portugal, they also have a raised hearth with overhang.
They do.
Even though it's made from a slab of marble.
It's a single piece of stone
granite,
rather
whatever.
than tiles.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a thing. And then people were like, aren't we worried that we'll kick our toe on it and chip it?
Damage it with a hoover.
Yeah, my response to that was downstairs, which we have the same tiles, we have 2 steps between the middle compartment of the building and the third compartment. And we step on there every day.
Multiple times.
Yeah, and hoover it and sweep it and have never had any problems whatsoever. And this is really not going to get walked on. And yes, the stone could chip 100%. But it sands back really well because it's such a soft stone. We've got some chips in our kitchen where we've dropped things or whatever. Just get a bit of sandpaper, rub it back and it looks fine. We will put some protective covering on the edge here so that when they're installing the big heavy wood burner, there's no problems. But I was actually really surprised at that comment. The frequency of that comment.
And we should probably tell them what you are painting onto the tiles, because otherwise you'll get comments about that too.
It's the same stuff we used downstairs on these tiles, same stuff we used on the Roman tiles. It is a breathable sealer.
It's a stone protector.
Yeah, stone protector. If you don't wipe off wine fast enough and leave it there, it definitely does soak in, but it just gives a little bit more time to wipe up anything that's spilt on it.
It's like water repellent or liquid repellent.
That's exactly it, but if it's left on the surface, it will soak in.
It does soak in, because these limestone tiles are very porous.
Yep. And then there was a couple of people saying, what, you're going to spill some wine? We try at all costs not to spill any wine, down to the very last drop, so don't worry. And there were some other comments about the heat rating of the tiles, and why are we not having tiles on the back to protect the wall from any heat coming out of the unit. I'll let you deal with that because I need to get some more.
Oh, sure. Well, now people get to see that I'm just sitting around while you're doing all the work. But yes, the unit itself is not like a traditional one made of cast iron, which puts out loads of heat. It kind of looks a bit like a water tank, actually. I don't think there is a particularly large tank inside of it, but it will be connected up to a tank downstairs, a new tank, and then that is connected to our existing 300-litre water tank. But yeah, the whole unit is insulated, so we didn't even need to put a hearth in. It could have just sat on the floor. And so there won't be a huge amount of heat escaping from the casing. We are going to have the flue, the first section of the flue that comes out the top of the unit, be a single walled flue, so we should get some heat come out of that. But as soon as it gets close to the ceiling and then goes through the roof, that will be a double walled insulated piece of flue so that it doesn't set fire to our wooden roof. So the reason that we've put the hearth in is because we need something for this big heavy unit to sit on, and we haven't got the finished floor in yet. In fact, you can just see in the background, it is just the subfloor, the OSB. And the wall that I'm sitting against is also not plastered. In fact, you can see many unfinished things in the background. We'll get to all of those eventually. But yeah, we're going to have underfloor heating upstairs, and we haven't got to that because we've got loads of other work to do throughout the entire upstairs before we can do the flooring. But we do want to get the wood burner in so that we can be warm in the winter. And so that's why we put down the hearth.
It also looks better to have a fire, even if it is a big unit that doesn't look like a nice cast iron one, on a hearth. And we will also...
Well, it just gives it a place to be in the room, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit more aesthetic, and it's a little bit more kind of traditional to have a hearth. The unit's actually going to be here, and there's going to be a space there to build some kind of wood storage as well. So you're actually not going to see that much of the hearth by the time everything's on it. But mostly it's because we don't have a finished floor.
Right, we are done with all of our mini projects, and we are finally ready for the guys to come in and install the wood burner, which is not just very exciting, but a huge relief, because it has been some time to get to this point. Not even including all the stuff we did years ago, thinking about the fact the wood burner was going to go here and reinforcing the floor and all that kind of stuff. But when we were planning out for the big projects for this year and saying, oh yeah, we should try and get the wood burner in, well, that meant a whole load of other stuff had to be done first, like removing the chimney, replacing the roof, a load of plastering, and then all the way down to some of the little detail things that we did earlier. But it's all done now, which is good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the system installed and sitting in front of a roaring fire.
So one thing that we haven't done, and it's intentional, is we haven't painted these walls. So these are lime plastered with hemp, and we have learned elsewhere in the building they need to leave it for about 9 to 12 months for the hemp to fully dry out, because it leaches some tannins into the wall, and then when you paint it, if you've not left it long enough, that tannin comes into your top layer of lime wash. So we're going to leave this until sometime next year and then come in and lime wash it. We're so glad that this project is done, and very soon, end of next week, we will have a wood burner in here.
So that is it for another video. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.